Governor Bevin's decision to immediately cut funding from higher education has drawn a lot of criticism, and Kentucky's Attorney General says a court could decide what's next unless the governor changes his mind.
A Stanton Elementary employee dies suddenly after complications from the flu. You'll hear from her family tonight.
A major loss for the owner of a Kentucky used car lot. The unusual things burglars stole from the business.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening on this Friday. We are heading into the weekend, the first weekend of April, but it may feel more like winter at times this weekend.
We could even see a hard freeze. We begin tonight with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey and your no-wait weather forecast.
Yeah, guys, numbers already tumbling compared to this same point last night, and it's a sign of things to come. Tomorrow night, when you check back in with Jim, he's going to show you a map that has a ton of blue and numbers that are even colder. We're 10 degrees colder right now compared to last night in Lexington. Upper 40s, low 50s are showing up. You know what? That's not bad at all. But it's what's coming in behind this that will steal the show over the next couple of days. Defender radar network, nothing to show you locally. Let's bounce it out a little bit. Clouds across the bluegrass state, cold front to our northwest. Now that's a chilly brand of air that is coming in behind that particular front. The front that is on its heels will arrive as we go into late afternoon tomorrow into the evening. That front will have the potential for winds to gust up to 40 and 45 miles an hour out ahead of it, and for that hard freeze to come in behind it as we go into Saturday night and Sunday morning. Green thumb alert for the entire region. We're tracking not one, not two, but maybe 3 freezes over the next week. Guys, I'll see you at 11:13.
We will see you then, Chris. Thank you. The battle over higher education funding cuts could end up in court. Today, Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear called Governor Bevin's immediate 4.5% budget cuts to public colleges and universities illegal.
And he gave the governor a deadline to rescind that order or face litigation. But the governor doesn't appear to be backing down. Garrett Weimer has the latest in our top story at 11.
Thank you guys for being here.
At a news conference, Attorney General Andy Beshear said the governor can't legally cut money state legislators already allocated unless there's a shortfall. He says he will sue if Governor Matt Bevin does not withdraw the mid-year education cuts he announced Thursday.
He was cutting completely, not just changing the timing at which a university would receive their funds. A governor, any governor, does not have this power or authority.
A spokesperson for Governor Bevin tells us they've talked to his general counsel and also the budget office and are confident the governor's actions are on, quote, firm legal grounds, adding the attorney general's threatened actions are premature.
And by we, I mean...
Earlier, Governor Bevin shrugged off a question about whether he thought he might be sued, saying you can sue anyone for anything. He said he does not think his cuts will hurt budget negotiations moving forward, but blamed House Speaker Greg Stumbo if lawmakers don't agree on a budget.
I have absolute confidence that sometime between now and 2 weeks from now, that we will be able to come out of here with a budget that serves the people of Kentucky well. As I have said, though, if we do not, it will be because he is unwilling to truly negotiate.
The last day of the regular session is April 12th. At the Capitol, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
The Attorney General says the governor has 7 days, that is until the end of the day next Friday, to withdraw the cuts. He says he's confident Governor Bevin will comply. New tonight, the State House has passed a bill that would give Kentucky's court system an extra $60 million during the next 2 years. It's designed to avoid what Kentucky Chief Justice John Minton called a crippling deficit. He said that proposed budget cuts of 9% for the court system would lead to 600 layoffs and eliminate the state's drug court program. The Senate did not vote on the bill today.
She spent decades helping children learn, but tonight a community is remembering a Powell County educator after her sudden death. Family members say Joyce Hall died this week, just days after developing flu-like symptoms. Tonight, her family and friends are talking to us about her. Monique Blair has the story, new at 11.
This time last week, 58-year-old Joyce Hall seemed healthy. Her Saturday morning began like any other.
Got up Saturday, cleaned the house like she normally does. Couldn't hardly breathe Saturday night.
Hall's stepson Keith says Hall went to the ER Sunday and then again Monday. By Monday night, she was flown to the University of Cincinnati Hospital. Keith says she was suffering from complications of the flu.
The flu just got to her. It just shut all her organs down, and in a matter of 24 hours, she was gone.
Hall died Tuesday morning. Now the Stanton community is mourning a woman who spent decades dedicated to improving the lives of children as the Family Resource Center director at Stanton Elementary.
She would do literally anything for her school, for the kids, for the staff there, and she just meant the world to everybody at Stanton Elementary.
She would do whatever it took in order to impact the family positively.
Keith Hall tells me his stepmother was the only mother he has ever known, as his biological mother passed away when he was young.
But as far as stepmother, I couldn't ask for. She's my mother. She's not my stepmother. You know, she took a blended family with blended grandkids and made us a whole.
Now as Hall's loved ones try to grasp the sudden loss, they tell me they'll focus on celebrating the memories that will never be forgotten.
If you weren't happy when you met her, you would be after.
In Powell County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Stanton Elementary School plans to hold a balloon release for Joyce Hall next week.
A hearing for a man accused of killing a Richmond police officer has been delayed again, and family members of the officer say they're getting frustrated. Police charged Raleigh Sizemore with murder after they say he shot Officer Daniel Ellis last November. A pretrial conference for Sizemore had been delayed once before, but it was supposed to take place today. That hearing was delayed again because the defense asked for more time to get through evidence in the case.
It's been 5 months. They've had 5 months to prepare for this case, and there needs to be a trial date set pretty soon. Daniel deserves that. You know, our family definitely deserves that.
Officer Ellis's brother says that some family members live outside of Madison County. He says repeatedly planning trips for hearings only to have them canceled is draining for them. Sizemore is now scheduled to be back in court April 14th.
New tonight, police say burglars stole the keys to every car parked at a used car lot in Letcher County. The owner of Sexton's Used Cars in Whitesburg says the burglars also stole a Pontiac and a Camaro and damaged other cars on the lot. He says it happened sometime overnight.
Not only have they done damage to my property and stole 2 of my cars, they've also left me with the burden of trying to get these other cars running again.
The owner also says the burglars knocked out the power to the business so surveillance cameras wouldn't record anything, but police say they're hoping surveillance cameras at nearby businesses can provide some clues. So far, police have not made any arrests. New tonight, police now say a knife found at O.J. Simpson's former estate was not the weapon used to kill his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. Los Angeles police say investigators ruled out the knife as a murder weapon after weeks of forensic investigation. Police say a construction worker found the knife on the property more than 10 years ago and passed it on to a retired police officer who only recently announced he had it. Simpson was found not guilty of the 1994 murders.
Tonight, 2 Louisville men face charges for 2 burglaries in Madison County. The Madison County Sheriff's Office says 37-year-old Christopher Elliott and 45-year-old Scott Kincaid broke into the Waco BP last Sunday morning. Police later arrested the 2 men during a traffic stop in Richmond. They believe Elliott and Kincaid also broke into a Dollar General store on Boonesboro Road last week. New tonight, police have arrested a woman they say offered people sex for money in a Knox County Walmart parking lot. In an arrest citation, Barberville police say 57-year-old Annette Hammonds asked customers to go on dates referred to as, quote, the type you pay for. Police also say she asked Walmart's manager for money and sex. They later arrested Hammonds at her home and charged her with prostitution, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest.
New tonight, Kentucky lawmakers have approved a bill that would increase fees for prepaid phone customers to support 911 emergency services. The Senate and House both gave final approval to the bill, so it now heads to Governor Bevin's desk. Under the bill, when you buy a prepaid phone, you'll have to pay an extra 93 cents for 911 services. Landline and cell phone customers already pay 911 fees, but prepaid customers haven't been paying a full 911 fee. If the governor signs the bill, it would take effect January 1st.
Donald Trump has faced a lot of criticism this week for some of his comments, and tonight, even the president weighed in. That's in 9 minutes.
And then, what started as a Facebook post now has a Lexington woman receiving national attention thanks to a special gift.
It's time to wake up. You've got things to do, mouths to feed, work to get done. It's another Kentucky morning. And Kentucky mornings start here.
Good morning, I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith.
You don't have time to waste, so we don't waste your time. Simple as that. Breaking and overnight news, weather to plan your day, plus traffic you can take with you. Make WKYT This Morning part of your Kentucky morning. Weekdays from 4:30 to 7 on WKYT.
What we do is not about sickness. It's about living. All of life's moments, big and small. Each triumph and challenge. Because you were made to live and live well. And we're here to make sure you do. Let us show you how care is supposed to be. Lexington Clinic. Your doctors for life.
You know, Kentucky weather is what it is. For those of us who've lived here our entire lives, we've just accepted the fact that we're never going to be able to control it. I remember growing up in Sayersville and wondering, what is it about Kentucky that makes our weather so ridiculous? And that passion to understand it has led me to where I am today. While I still can't control it, I sure as heck really understand it. I'm WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey, and I stand for Kentucky.
Hello, I'm Rob Bromley, inviting WKYT TV viewers on the vacation of your dreams, a land and cruise tour of Alaska, August 5th to the 18th. We'll stay near Denali National Park and watch for wildlife on a guided park tour. Our vacation includes Anchorage, Fairbanks, the White Pass and Yukon train, and a 4-night Holland America cruise through Glacier Bay and the Inside Passage. For more information, call Holiday Vacations, 1-800-826-2266.
Get WKYT news and weather updates on News Radio 630 WLAP. Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
We have made it to the weekend, and cold fronts are on the way to the Bluegrass State. Most of the eastern half of the country going to get cold at times over the next week. Let's jump into it, show you what we are dealing with. Next front is just off to the northwest of Kentucky. It's got one on its heels. Both of those over the next 24 hours working across the area. First one gives us a little chill. Second one has some cold air that may give us a freeze by the time we go into Sunday morning. Something else to watch for, those winds that are going to be awfully strong. Wind advisory is out as we go into most of central and eastern Kentucky 4 hours Saturday. Tomorrow afternoon, winds tomorrow 40 to 45 miles per hour at times. I could see a local 50-mile-per-hour gust showing up into parts of northern Kentucky, and that unleashes the colder air. Freeze watch is in effect as we go into Saturday night and Sunday morning for just about the entire region. And sub-freezing temperatures, everything in full bloom earlier than normal this year thanks to that very warm March. Talk about the winds that are going to be cranking up as well. First things first, we get the winds before the real cold. Tomorrow, noon, 20 to 30 miles an hour in northern Kentucky. Then all of a sudden, boom, here we go. We could see 40 to 45 miles per hour with those gusts anytime between noon and let's say 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Winds will die down a little bit tomorrow evening by 11. And as those winds continue to drop tomorrow night, that will allow temperatures to drop as well. So it's a green thumb alert. Several hard freeze mornings coming up. Best chance will be Sunday, then again Tuesday, then again by the end of the week, Thursday into Friday. So if you've been doing some planting, you've been kind of a little gambler on the planting early this year, you're probably going to have to pay the price. We're going to see some cold conditions, to say the least, in the next several days. Right now it's upper 40s north, low 50s for everywhere else. Tomorrow afternoon, only low 50s for many of us. Southern Kentucky may add a degree or two on top of that with a late day shower and those gusty winds. Defender radar network as of now, not a whole lot out there outside of some high clouds. Hit the fast forward button 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mid and upper 30s, northern and central parts of the area. Noon tomorrow, chilly, upper 40s to low 50s. Tomorrow afternoon, winds are going to really crank. By 5, 6 o'clock or so, here's a little quick moving band of some showers that will quickly work across the area. How about a Saturday night out on the town in early April? Thoughts of spring? Mid and upper 30s by 11 o'clock tomorrow night, so we've got the jackets out. Mid to upper 20s Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon will make a run into the upper 40s and low 50s. That's not terrible, but you got to keep in mind normal highs right now are into the 60s. Then as we go into Monday, here comes the next front. This is going to be a big wind maker as well. Temperatures spike into the 60s. Could get some small hail producing showers and thunderstorms into the afternoon. That will unleash and potentially even colder air for your Tuesday forecast period. That 7-day forecast, up, down, but the downs outweigh the ups in a big, big way, guys, with multiple readings below freezing over the next week and change. There's even an outside chance that later next Thursday, you're talking about a snowflake.
Right before Keeneland opens.
Right before Keeneland opens. That's at least a possibility. It's happened many times before. We just, hopefully, history never repeats itself.
I kind of want to do this. Cover my ears. Yeah, not hearing any of it.
Earmuffs. Earmuffs. We said it.
They have waited more than 6 months, but people who depend on a Central Kentucky bridge will have to wait even longer for it to reopen. The update in 7 minutes.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Hi, Ashley. It's great to see you. We love Ashley. She's one of our regulars.
Fresh from the oven.
At Kroger, we're family, and so are our customers. My mom always said, to have a friend, be a friend. Come back soon, Ashley.
You know we will.
Red, white, or black seedless grapes are on sale for just $1.68 a pound. And red tomatoes on the vine or broccoli crowns are only 99 cents a pound at Kroger.
We've been slow smoking over oak for more than 45 years. And while sticking to tried and true traditions is kind of our thing, it doesn't hurt to throw something new in the smoker every now and then. Come get some slow smoked chicken wings at Sonny's Barbecue. Order them as an appetizer or as part of a combo with pork, baby back ribs, or both, starting at $10.99. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Honda believes in helping you use your garage to its fullest potential. That's why we're offering great deals on the things you'll want in your garage, like the Honda CR-V. The best-selling SUV in America comes with a standard multi-angle rear-view camera and plenty of cargo space. Great for transporting lots of stuff, say to storage or a dump. Hurry to the Honda Dream Garage sales event. You've got a garage to fill. The most durable, longest-lasting brand in its class has great deals. Now at your Honda dealer.
When severe storms roll in, we go to work to keep you and your family safe by calling a First Alert Severe Weather Day, keeping you on top of the storms with continuous coverage on air, on WKYT.com, and wherever you are with our news and weather apps. Plus an experienced weather team ready to alert you when you need to get out of harm's way. Keeping you safe this severe weather season, that's what we stand for. First Alert Severe Weather Days, only on WKYT.
Hey, you know where to find me.
98.1 The Bull.
It's your favorite radio station. It's the way that we get to you.
Nothing like a great song. There's nothing like country music.
Officer Dawn and Deanne mornings. 60-minute bull rides all day.
First thing in the morning.
And last thing at night.
Better country, 98.1 The Bull.
The best songs.
The biggest artists.
All in one place. 98.1 The Bull.
We'll see you there.
Tonight, Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump told CBS News that this has not been his campaign's worst week. That's despite his campaign manager being charged and heavy criticism over abortion comments.
And tonight, President Obama questioned Trump's understanding of the world. Weijia Jiang has the latest on both the Republican and Democratic campaigns.
Donald Trump told Face the Nation moderator John Dickerson he's not ready to change abortion laws.
At this moment, the laws are set, and I think we have to leave it that way.
He's been under attack since suggesting there should be punishment if abortion is outlawed and a woman has one. People on both sides are attacking many of his proposals. President Obama closed his nuclear summit by questioning Trump's recent remarks that South Korea and Japan should arm themselves with nuclear weapons.
The person who made the statements doesn't know much about foreign policy or nuclear policy or the Korean Peninsula or the world generally.
Tempers are also flaring on the Democratic side. Bernie Sanders is accusing Hillary Clinton of being in the pocket of energy lobbyists. But both Democratic candidates have taken donations from employees of oil companies. Clinton lost her cool during a stop Thursday when she was asked about accepting campaign contributions from the industry.
I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me. I'm sick of it.
But Sanders, who leads Clinton in Wisconsin, refuses to back down.
Secretary Clinton, you owe our campaign an apology. We were telling the truth.
Clinton's campaign says it has no plans to apologize. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Washington.
The latest polls show Trump trailing Ted Cruz in Wisconsin. Trump's performance in that state's primary on Tuesday could make or break his momentum towards clinching the Republican nomination before the party's convention.
People who depend on a central Kentucky bridge say they're frustrated. They'll have to wait even longer for it to reopen. In September, state transportation leaders shut down the Kennedy Mill Bridge over Harrington Lake, saying steel on the bridge was falling apart. Repairs were supposed to take 3 months, but the state couldn't start the work until February. The bridge was supposed to reopen today, but the state pushed that back until next Friday. One man says he's spending an extra $100 a month on gas because of the detour he has to take.
I live in Nicholasville, and it takes me an extra 30 minutes to get to work, and I have to travel through 3 counties to get here.
The state plans to build a new bridge in that area. The old bridge will stay open while the new one is built.
A video of a Lexington woman singing has gone viral online. Callie Day works as a pharmacy technician at a Walmart in Lexington, but after the video of her singing was posted to Facebook, it quickly received more than 2.5 million views. It even received the attention of American Idol winner Fantasia Barrino and gospel singer Kim Burrell.
It's awesome and humbling at the same time, and I just pray that whatever they hear or what they're getting from the song, that it just blesses their heart.
Callie is a doctoral candidate in vocal performance at UK. She's been raising money in hopes of finishing production on her first album. You can find a link to her fundraising site at WKYT.com. And can she sing?
I think she definitely needs a recording contract somewhere. All right, the CVI Championship on the line for Morehead State tonight.
Third and deciding game of the series, the Eagles trying to win on the road. What a game it has been. And Jamal Murray saying goodbye. What his dad had to say about his son's journey is up next in sports.
Get WKYT news and weather updates on News Radio 630 WLAP.
Lexington Overstock Warehouse is open this weekend for our Spring Savings Warehouse Sale. Get quality furniture and mattresses at incredibly low prices. Slush sectional $597. Restonic Queen Mattress and Box $248. Go to LexingtonOverstockWarehouse.com for more details.
Our city is like one big machine with thousands of moving parts. Lextran keeps more of those parts moving than most of us realize. Moving thousands of people a day to and from places of education or employment or enjoyment. Days and nights, rain or shine, weekdays and weekends, Sundays and holidays. So whether you ride the bus or not, you can count on the fact that many of the people you count on Lextran.
Get weather plus traffic with a WKYT weather app. Have the Defender radar network in the palm of your hand while checking your driving conditions for your commute on the same screen. Weather plus traffic on the WKYT weather app.
Saturday's Powerball jackpot is $135 million.
Every year I operate thousands of hours. I'm turned on and off thousands of times. I keep you cool and I keep you warm. I have the best 10-year no-hassle replacement warranty around. No worries, no questions, no hassle. I am Comfort Maker. Go to ComfortMaker.com today.
I love grocery shopping at Kroger, but sometimes life gets busy.
So I use ClickList. It's easy. I just order online. And with thousands of great items and fresh food to choose from,
I can get what I want the way I want it, then pick up my order at the store without ever leaving my car.
And for me, that's a game changer.
Order online, pick up curbside at store. We think you're gonna love ClickList. Try it now at Kroger.com/ClickList.
For one weekend only, the Lexington Center is transformed into the biggest home and gardening event of the year, the Central Kentucky Home and Garden Show.
Find contractors, remodelers, kitchen and bath, flooring, landscaping and outdoor living. Discover the latest inventions and smart products in the new product zone. Learn painting tips and tricks from Brian Santos, the Wall Wizard. And meet Jeff Lewis, interior designer and star of Bravo's hit TV show, Flipping Out.
Find it all at one amazing show, the Central Kentucky Home and Garden Show.
Toyota on Nicholasville is so big. Now we need both sides of the street. Introducing the big used car store on Nicholasville. Your certified pre-owned destination. Get the bigger, better Toyota and the lower price. Toyota certified used vehicles come with a factory warranty, roadside assistance, and 0% financing. Choose a Toyota certified used vehicle today at Toyota Nicholasville. The big Toyota store. Where price sells cars. ToyotaOnNicholasville.com.
When I needed a new furnace, I did my research, found out that Comfort Heating and Air had the highest reviews on Google and Angie's List. So I went with Comfort Maker's 10-year no-hassle warranty. Do what I did, call the Comfort Man today.
Jamal Murray came into the Kentucky program highly touted. He did not disappoint. He averaged 20 points per game, the highest scoring average of the John Calipari era. Murray said goodbye today. He's going into the June NBA draft. He is projected to be a lottery pick. At Kentucky, Jamal had to adjust. He played shooting guard. He doesn't know what position he'll play in the NBA.
It depends what team my organization I go to. I don't know much about it, but I'm capable of playing both, and played point guard for all my life, and then came here and played two guard, played different positions on defense. So I'm versatile. I'm just trying to fit in wherever I can.
An emotional moment this afternoon came when Roger Murray finished talking about his son, and then father and son hugged. Jamal credits his dad with getting him where he is now.
When you put in sweat, blood, and tears, and you hope for the best, and it worked out. Words can't explain that. You can't. I won't even try. So it's a good moment between us. He knew the reason why, and it's just been awesome. Life is awesome sometimes.
Moorhead State of Nevada in the third and deciding game for the CBI championship tonight. We go to Reno. Nevada led by as many as 14, but with about 8 minutes to go, Lamontre Harris, a three-pointer to tie it at 61. Right back at the other end, Marquise Coleman puts Nevada back up by 2. Just under 7 minutes left. Malik Maitland beats the shot clock, gives the Eagles the lead, 64-63. About 5 minutes left. Maitland again. He ties it at 66. 2.5 minutes left. Brent Arrington comes open, and he ties the game at 68. 1.5 minutes on the clock. Maitland again, tying it at 70 with a long 2, almost a 3. 6.7 seconds left. Rico Marrero, 2 free throws. It went to overtime, and right now, Nevada is on top, 83-82. with just 1 second left to go. Former Wildcat Kyle Wilcher is back in the Bluegrass. He is going on an autograph signing tour of the state. Wilcher said today that he shares a unique bond with UK fans. It's one of the big reasons it was difficult for him to leave and transfer after 2 seasons to go to Gonzaga. He said John Calipari didn't force him out.
That's not true. It was more, that was kind of where my head was at. I thought a system somewhere else would be better for the way I play. He told me 100%, I want you back, kid, and this, you can reach your dreams anywhere if you work hard. And at the end of the day, I decided it would be better somewhere else, and he was very supportive and had my back. But yeah, he was awesome through the whole thing.
And Alex Poitras is making the rounds. Last night he was in Hazard, tonight out at Fayette Mall, the usual routine of meeting fans, taking pictures. Alex will be attending NBA camp soon, and he says the UK coaches continue to work with him.
I'm still working out with Kenny Payne, and I've been doing a lot again in the gym on my own, and then I'm still lifting with Rob and still trying to stay in shape. They do the best to help you out even when you're about to leave.
Kentucky baseball on the road at Tennessee for the weekend, and Tennessee proceeds to build a 3-0 lead and then adds more to it in the 5th inning. Jordan Rogers with a bases-loaded triple to left center. The Vols go up 7-0, and by the time the inning ended, they led it 9-0. Cats fight back in the 8th. Evan White who extended his hitting streak to 19 games, rips one off the left field wall. That scored 2. And Gunnar McNeil delivers a 2-run blast to left. He extends his hitting streak to 21 games. The lead cut to 9-5, but Tennessee added 5 more in the bottom of the inning and goes on to win it 14-5. Softball, Auburn at Kentucky. UK's Megan Prince on the mound. Auburn doing damage early. Jade Rose, a line shot to center, 3-run homer. Eagles up 3-zip. And then in the third, bases loaded, Carly Wallace sends a liner to the hole at short. Christian Stokes with a diving grab flips to third for the out, but another run comes in. Auburn winning it tonight in a shutout. Final score was 9-0. Nevada has won it over Morehead State. Great effort, though, by Sean Wood's team. Keep it right here. Matt Jones is next.
Hi, I'm Stephen Colbert.
And I'm James Corden.
And I'm the host of The Late Show.
It's not enough time.
CBS Late Night is on a roll. We're just two cool dudes who are ready to take comedy head on.
The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and The Late Late Show with James Corden. The cutting edge in late night.
Colbert! Corden! Late Show!
Late Night should still not there!
Weeknights, only CBS.
Don't let dust and allergies get between you and life's beautiful moments. With Flonase Allergy Relief, they won't. When we breathe in allergens, our bodies react by overproducing 6 key inflammatory substances that cause our symptoms. Most allergy pills only control one substance. Flonase controls 6. And 6 is greater than 1. Flonase outperforms the #1 non-drowsy allergy pill. So you can seize those moments wherever you find them. Flonase 6 is greater than 1 changes everything.
The new Cub Cadet XT Enduro Series comes from a place where raw strength is just a starting point, and unrivaled dependability is backed by the strongest warranty in the business. You'll find that place at a locally owned dealer with exceptional financing featuring 0% APR for 48 months with equal payments. Welcome to Strongsville. To find a locally owned Cub Cadet dealer near you, visit CubCadetDealers.com.
Every morning is an eye-opening morning on CBS This Morning. Start with responsible, intelligent information and conversation.
Take me back to that moment that we just saw in this confrontation.
Searchers race to save people trapped for days in Colorado. In an interview you'll see only on CBS This Morning.
Start with world-class original reporting. Start thinking. CBS This Morning.
Team's falling apart.
You of all people should know the dangers in getting between two siblings.
You will never beat me.
Johnny thinks I'm a traitor.
I know exactly what that Kevlar won't protect.
Time of death, 11:59.
At the end of the broadcast, I'm most proud of what we have done as a team. This is the ultimate team sport, television news. And to deliver to the American people the highest quality news broadcast in the world today, that is a very satisfying feeling.
Jamal Murray announced today he's headed to the NBA draft, and he's played his last game at Kentucky. Now, the news wasn't a surprise. We all assumed Jamal was going to go to the NBA. But it also is a little bit sad. This year didn't end like Kentucky fans wanted, but for Jamal Murray, it was one of the most historic offensive seasons of all time. He now holds the record for the most points ever by a freshman at UK. He had 12 straight games of 30 points or more, a record only matched by Dan Issel. I wonder sometimes, though, will people remember that? We spent so much time this year talking about Tyler Ulis, we at times forgot just how good Jamal Murray was. Well, I'll tell you who hasn't forgotten. Those are NBA scouts. He's going to get picked in the top 5, and Calipari said today that if Kentucky was still in the tournament, he thinks he might go number 1. My guess is he gets picked 3rd or 4th, and he has a great NBA career. It was an honor to watch the Canadian here, and I hope he kills it at the next level. I'm Matt Jones, and this has been Overtime.
Emoji cast for the weekend. A couple of frowns in there. It is cold. Could be a shower late tomorrow. Winds will hit 40 miles an hour at times. Sunday morning, hard freeze threat. That's my face Sunday morning, too.
It's my frowny face right now for it. Have a great weekend, though.
Good night. Thanks for watching.